And I love your wooden glasses in the back there. They're perfect.
Thanks.
So, hello everyone. Thank you so much for coming to our podcast. This is going to be broadcast actually on seniorsafetyadvice.com and on aginginplacedirectory.com on those two podcasts as well as those two YouTube channels. So, if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you. Hello, welcome. And I am so happy today to bring on to this podcast Michelle Hoff. She is the author of Compassionate Decluttering. And I'll tell you what attracted me was to this book was just the title of, well, I mean, I love decluttering. That's my thing. But Compassionate Decluttering was such
Mhm.
an interesting niche, an interesting viewpoint of it, much different than just, get out there and pull out a few things and give them away and change this and have this, save box and, all the other tips that you normally hear. And that this went a little deeper. And I think, Michelle, I think what you told me is it was a 10-year process to write the book.
Yeah, I shudder to say a 12-year
12-year
process.
process to write this book. So a lot of love went into this book. I got to tell you, a lot of love.
Yes, a lot of
So,
self-compassion too to get through with it.
so this is Michelle Hoff, and I am going to let her introduce herself to you. Take it away, Michelle.
Oh, thanks so much, Esther. It's nice to be here. Really wonderful to be here, actually.
Thank you.
Yes, so Michelle, home coach Hoff, and the home coach piece is accent having helping first and foremost. I'm a life coach, but I
Okay.
have a niche as a home coach. And
Okay.
from what I know, I'm the only home coach. I looked at the International Coaches Federation website, no such thing. And that's the mothership of coaches. So, but I've been working in people's homes physically for over 30 years. I owned a commercial and residential cleaning business, started that when I was in college, and I did that for 10 years. I worked in the home furnishings industry for 10 years at Room and Board. Its headquarters is here in Minneapolis.
Hmm.
And I did various roles there. And I also started a business called Design Within after that. After I was trained as a life coach, I went on a walk in the Pyrenees Mountains with a bunch of life coaches from around the world with the mission each day to kind of chew on a question that was going to lead us to the one thing that we were going to change and contribute to the world. And I came up with my business name, Design Within, integrating my coaching certification course and all my design skills in interior design, landscape design, and interior painting. And my degree is in horticulture and landscape management. So all of my love and passions are around home. And but I
Wow.
wanted to. I got my master's degree in human development, and the thesis of my uh, master's what became the genesis of my book, Compassionate Decluttering, and it was about recovering your authentic self and using your home as a medium to do that. So
Well,
there.
I would say you are well-rounded.
Yeah, in that beautiful home niche, right? You
Yeah,
put
in
me
that beautiful home niche. I love that. And I think when I first saw you or met you on LinkedIn, I think I asked you, what is a home coach? Like what I hadn't heard of that term either myself. So I love that you own it. Is there, you should buy the domain homecoach.com if it's available.
well, and my website is homecoachhoff.com.
Oh,
So
Home Coach Hoff. Okay.
I've also spent 40 years in different sports activities, and I love the concept of being a part of a team, and I do that still today. So
And I
I'll
think that's so important, especially with aging in place professionals. I mean, there's no way that any one specialty can walk into someone's home and be able to do everything.
exactly.
But if you can consider yourself as part of a team of all these other people, someone can be the contractor or the handyman or the designer or whatever, and
Yeah,
then you can at least be the provider of that. You can be the source that that family always calls for whatever they need. And that,
exactly.
yeah, that's what
It-
makes you invaluable. I think that's really the biggest factor that a lot of aging in place professionals miss out on.
is that team approach.
that team approach.
A hundred
Has
percent.
to, it
And
has to be.
decluttering in and of itself, I mean, if it was easy, it'd be
Yeah.
done,
Yeah.
right?
I
But
mean,
it's
and it's the first step to aging. It's the very first step. You can't do almost, there's almost nothing you can do. Well, unless it's out, well, no, there's almost nothing you can do
I agree.
unless it's decluttering. Even outdoors, there you have to declutter. That's the very first step. And it's so emotional that you
Yeah.
really have to come at it from a different angle. That's what I loved about the title of your book, Compassionate Decluttering, because it really does require a lot of empathy, a lot of understanding. There's psychology, there's everything is involved in this issue of clutter, especially here in the US. You know, we
Yes,
don't practice Swedish death cleaning too often. You know, we don't do that at all. We, fill our houses with stuff and stuff and stuff. And it's just part of our culture, I guess,
it
since
is.
I don't know how many decades.
It's built into the fabric of being, a capitalist country, you
Yeah,
know? Yeah.
yeah, it's true. It's true. So I love that that inspired you, the inspirations that you got from moving from one um, business to another and how you got here.
Mhm.
Can you share a personal story that maybe shaped your philosophy over around compassionate decluttering? I mean, is it something that happened to you personally or a client, or how did you come up with that, a whole idea?
Yeah, that's a great question. And part of it is what I was mentioning about the legacy of where I've been and different jobs and experiences I've had with that 30 years and coupled with the 12 years it took me to write my book. There's this, and actually, this revelation just came to me even in this year that the word that has motivated me both personally and professionally and my what I'm what I'm seeing in my client is this word of discontent. There is this layer of
Uh,
discontentment that they people live with
yeah,
around and in their home,
yeah,
and it's that quelling that discontent in my mind. And I do that for myself personally. I am on a constant quest to figure out how who I am and what it is I need and want in my life and
yeah,
choices I make. So um and because the home is a space where we spend, hopefully more than 80 years or in our lifetime and 30% of our income, right?
right.
There's like I'm really like I want to get the value out of that and I want to help my clients get the value out of
Right,
that. And then, this as we talked about the magical world of marketing and shoving all these things down our throats all the time, right?
right.
There's so many so much consumerism going on
Yeah,
that I just people tend to then in all the social media as well, we're looking outside of ourselves for answers to comfort and this magical feeling of home that
yeah,
is depicted in magazines and HGTV shows and whatnot, and how we should look, our home should look. And my philosophy is stop the noise and
yeah,
look inside of
yeah.
yourself.
Yeah,
'Cause you
I agree with you 100%. I think the notion of looking outside of yourself for that sense of happiness or fulfillment or whatever you want to call it
yeah,
is it's futile because it's never outside of yourself, it's inside of yourself. But of course, that takes a lot more work.
it does.
It takes and just like you said, you just came to it this year or you came to a an idea this year, and I think that's the idea is that it's never completed. Hopefully you're constantly learning and growing and changing, and it's, I mean, the only thing that's constant in our life is change, that's for sure.
100%.
So how do we react to it? How do we learn from each thing that happens to us? How do we, build that up in ourselves?
Yeah.
And how do we not stay, whatever you learned when you were 25, it's going to be completely different when you're 35, 45, 55. Hopefully,
Yes,
hopefully you're
I
different.
hope so too, because we're not the same person.
No, Thank
all the
God. Thank God for that.
that's
Yeah, I
good.
don't want to go back to that. I wouldn't mind being that age, but only if I know what I know now, which I think everyone says that. But I think you're
100%.
absolutely right. And the home is really the heart of everything. And you want it to be your peaceful, restful, haven. You want it to be your haven where you go home and you relax and I'm working on making my home my resort. It's
Oh,
my resort. It's my place. I don't care. I've traveled so much in my life. I don't want to travel. I don't care to see another tree, another church, another this, another that. I don't care. When my friends go away, I tell them, just send me a rock. Send me a rock from wherever, and that's good. That's good enough. It's that because these things don't matter. But what matters to me is my home.
yeah.
And I want it to be my safe place where I spend all my time and get to do what I want.
Yeah,
Um, and I think everyone wants that, but not everyone knows how to do that.
exactly.
And, 2 years from now, I'm going to find something different that I did now that, I may want to change or anything. So that's where I think that concept of home coach comes in, which I think is so great. I mean, did you say you had a course?
I got certified a life coaching certification through the International Coaches Federation in 2003, actually, so quite a while ago.
Yeah.
Um, and so I've been at it for coaching for a while and just narrowing and refining my client base and
Hmm.
my messaging over time because you know, you talk about clutter and then you talk about, working on the inside stuff and people get a little freaked out. Like I'm gonna,
I
I'm,
know.
I'm not a therapist. And that is the most important distinction that
Right.
coaching is not about, working through the past, although things come up and I'm
Sure.
not afraid of that. And if the client's willing and to look at that, but we're always looking forward
Right.
into what's new, what's next, what's the goal, where are you reaching for fulfillment and what does that look like?
Right. Exactly. I love that. I love that concept. I'm sure you came to that, as years went by and you had lessons in your life. And I think that just goes to show that you've been through it to get to this place.
Yeah,
Good, bad, whatever. When my friends talk about bad events, I go, yeah, but this bad event is going to teach you something and it's
on
going to make you this amazing person. You just have to be patient to get through it. And so
a
I think
hundred
you've
percent.
done a great job. And I love that title, home coach. I just love it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks.
especially, in this niche of aging in place, you really are coming in to home coach them so that they can stay there as independently as possible for as long as possible. That's the whole idea.
It is
Even
the
if
whole
it's not in that particular home, even if it's in an assisted living or wherever,
yes,
independent living, wherever they end up going or wherever they end up staying,
right.
they want to make that environment as safe and as for as long so that they can be as independent for as long as possible.
And
And
and for me, being sorry to interrupt, but for
no, no,
me also that word independent is like I am fiercely independent and I don't want anyone telling me what to do. And I
right.
want that agency in my life for as long as I am breathing. So
That's
I can't imagine, well, those are the clients that I work with and I'm not pulling or pushing anybody towards
right,
my ideas.
right,
That's against everything that Home Coach Hoff stands for.
right.
We're harvesting what's your vision in the process and that
Exactly.
lifestyle, um, looking at the positive sides of change in the
That's
process.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, I wish you were here in Georgia. I'd have you come home coach me.
Well, luckily I'm virtual, so when
Oh,
let's
uh,
sign up. Let's
all
sign
right.
up.
Then I need to
'Cause
turn on my camera and have you analyze my
oh,
my environment.
oh yeah,
Oh,
no. I want you to also know that I owned a cleaning business, a painting business, and all that kind of landscape business. I may see things that I notice, but it's not mine to judge. And
oh
I
yeah.
Everyone's unique in the way they live their homes, and there's no prescription to how you live in your home.
Oh, of course. And it's not about judgment.
Yes.
It's just about being, I mean, to me, an assessment is using someone's expertise in what
Yeah.
they know and how they see things. Because, I mean, we all live in our own little bubbles, every single
Sure.
one of us.
Well,
We
me
have our
too.
own biases and everything. So I think it's so important to invite as many people in, to whatever, to your idea, to your book that you wrote, to your house, to whatever, and ask, hey, what would you do? Can you see anything better? Every time I have a guest over, the
Yeah.
comment is, what else could I put in that room, or what can I take out, or what would you like, what wouldn't you like? I mean, because you never know, you don't always see what other people see. So it's not about judgment. It's just about getting a professional assessment
Gotcha.
for everything. That's, I think you have to be open to that. Otherwise, we just stay
Yes.
in our own little idea, our little bubble. So,
Exactly.
how do you help your clients overcome what we all know, these emotional barriers of letting go? What do you think are the top three or five or whatever tools or tips to help maybe a family member when working with their own elderly parent?
Ah, such a good question. It's such a
A
good
tough one.
question.
Is it going to take an hour? I don't know.
No, it's actually pretty simple. And
Okay.
I ask my clients to just stop looking at their stuff. Just
Okay.
stop looking at it. And again, look inside to the vision that you might have. If you were to just meditate for a minute on a vision that you wanted for your lifestyle, wherever that is, what would you be doing? Who would you be having over? How much social? What do you want the space to feel like? What's your vision? What do you value? Do you want family to be a part of that vision? Do you want a client who has got an open door policy? That was her vision. She wanted to have an open
Hmm.
door policy when she got rid of her stuff, which she has already done. And other clients just wanted to have people actually use their guest room rather than have it be a storage area. And,
Yeah.
so that when you can stop looking at what is and look forward to what could be
Yeah.
in that space, that and that lifestyle, because they're combined, that is a great place to start, first and
Okay.
foremost. And the other softy parts, because I'm just doing a lot of internal work here, it is loving self-compassion. And that which comes with like forgiveness for maybe having
Mm-hmm.
it be a space where you made some mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have the order or the systems that you wanted or need. Maybe you've tried and failed or whatever. Maybe you bought things that you never used, or so expensive you don't know how to get rid of it. Just go through a process of accepting the fact that you did make some mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
and you did the best you could at the time with the information and the situation you had, and bless your soul however you do that, and allow yourself to just let that go and do some forgiveness. The you know Overcoming emotional barriers is a place where you do need some support. I think being
Yeah.
having someone who's a cheerleader for you, that can hold that vision that you see for that space and that lifestyle, and sharing it with people who can support you in that vision, is critical, because that's where the movement and improvement happens, is when we work together.
So you're talking about family and friends,
Yeah,
neighbors, whatever.
people, because the first stage of kind of releasing that vision and that lifestyle to the world is first sharing it with yourself and getting some clarity for that vision and lifestyle, and then that next step of sharing it with someone who really cares about you and wants the same thing for you. um yeah, the and what I do too is that I let my clients know that you cannot do this process alone.
Yeah.
Um, you have to have a team of people because it is so very complicated.
Right.
Creating that next lifestyle, which involves decluttering, is um, an organizer, a declutterer, someone who knows how to sell stuff, because, have some valuable things you might want to get some money for.
Right.
There's donation sites, how do you navigate those? And the prioritizing and then, well, planning or listing all the projects, prioritizing all those projects, breaking all those projects down. Because decluttering is not a to-do on a to-do list. It's all the
Right.
little, little, little projects in that realm of decluttering, right? So you cannot do it alone. And people really put a lot of pressure on themselves to think they have to do this alone, and they really don't. And they shouldn't.
No, they shouldn't. They truly shouldn't. When my husband passed away years ago, I we were living in a large home and I had to, and he never threw anything away. And I had
Oh,
to begin that process of decluttering. And yeah, I mean, I rallied my friends and family to help. I mean, we had 11 clothing closets in that house and he had 10 of them. Those
oh,
10 were his. One was mine. So there were so many things, and that was just the closets. Never mind all the drawers and everything. So, but I just, I mean, order pizza and get everybody to come over and,
yeah,
start. Because one, it's emotional, no
yes,
matter what. And two, it's a lot of work. It's a lot. It took me a year to clean out that house. But that was the initial. That's how I got it started, was with the help of
others.
my friends and family. Because you're right, you can't do it alone.
Absolutely
What
not.
do you find, or have you found any one common um, block that most of your clients have that you find you have to like get through each time?
Oh, that's such a good question. Oh,
Excuse
bless
me.
you. Bless you. Um, the blocks can be, oh, the blocks.
I mean, do they find it hard to sit there and meditate for a minute or think about, or do they not even know what their goal is? They just know something is wrong, but they don't know what.
So when they first come to me, they do have a desire to be done with this clutter.
Okay,
They've
that's good.
worked with other organizers. They've followed, they've read the books, the decluttering books. They've had some systems in place from those organizers and declutterers. They've, maybe they read the magazines and watch the TV shows and everything looks so beautiful and simple and, 30 minutes it's over.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
but
Magic of TV.
totally. But there is so much, so they want that
Yeah,
look. They want to be released from this cycle of clutter. And the roadblocks that they have are a lot of subtle emotional things. You
yeah,
know, the obligations, the gifts that you received, from the trips places you've been, the family heirlooms you've been passed down. And it creates this weight and this crippling paralysis
yeah,
around how am I supposed to reconcile those emotions and those memories and those obligations with the history and the
right.
sentimentality. But so there's that. There's obviously the guilt from letting go of gifts, or if you do, and the cost of what you bought and didn't use. And there's also, we've been in patterns and habits in our lives for years, unconscious
Right.
habits and patterns. And decluttering rattles the cage on those things and actually asks you to do something different.
Right.
Because obviously, if you're doing the same thing, it's not working.
Right.
That's the old insanity plea, So
Right.
we've got to do something different. And there's a lot of fear involved.
Yeah. Fear of the
Like,
unknown because you are doing something different.
Yeah, and then making a mistake. Like, what if I throw that, you know, armoire or not throw or give this armoire to someone else who I don't know? Um, and will it haunt me for the rest of my life? You know?
Yeah,
But most of the time, these these feelings that you have around these regrets or the mistakes afterwards, they probably last 2 minutes.
right.
Or, and you still breathe, your heart's still beating,
Yeah,
and you're still enjoying the morning coffee the next day.
yeah,
It's just, there's a place for that. And so I have people take the photographs and do the videos, share a video with other family members, or ask other family members to share videos, stories about items that they're going to release, and sometimes I see if there's another way to use that piece in the space, challenge them to think about. Can you
right.
use that door as a tray? A tray for something you use in the future. You actually use it,
Yeah,
or it's stuff you get out of the boxes, right?
yeah,
Get out of the boxes, put it up on the wall, or put it in a place where people can see it, and a conversation can begin around that dead thing in the box, right? Bring it to life.
right.
So it's just it's practicing with letting things go, feeling the feelings, knowing that you're still going to be okay. And usually there's like 1.1% of stuff that people have regrets about. And we have regrets about other things in life, and we still live with those. And we make better decisions next time, or
Mhm.
it influences us in another way. Like
Right.
we're,
Exactly. It's
yeah,
amazing, really, how much hold some things have. It's just a thing, it's not a person, it's not an animal, it's a thing.
right.
Like the armoire, it's just a thing. But do you recommend, I've read several places where some organizers recommend, okay, when you're decluttering, if you have, well, first of all, I think if you have like, 1,000 Hummel pieces or Yardro pieces or whatever, bring it down to 10 or 10 important ones. Take pictures of the others or take a picture of that armoire or whatever. Do you
Yeah.
recommend that? Do you find that that works for some of your clients, taking a picture of something before giving it away?
Oh, yeah. I
Is that
think it
enough?
really is soothing for the soul. It really allows them to, I say put it on your, computer screen. Put the picture there for as long as you need that picture
Yeah.
there, and just allow yourself to fully kind of put closure or appreciation around that piece. Don't deny the feelings that you're having, because like I say, they're valuable processors and muscle builders around um, some resistance
Mm-hmm.
and decision making. It The longer you can linger in some of that discomfort, the more resilience you have. As
Mm-hmm.
uh, Emma Seppala, she wrote the Happiness Track, and she talked about building resist. Compassion is about building resilience and grit in your system, because or the qualities of compassion are wisdom, kindness, patience, um, and understanding.
True.
It's Yeah, and those are the pieces that we're going through when we look at and let go of that armoire, like, and we're getting stronger, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it builds confidence.
It is amazing, that is one thing. It does make you stronger. I mean, when I went through that major process, it does
Yeah.
make you stronger. And for whatever reason, well, I mean, it does make sense. It made me freer. I mean, I really
Yes.
felt like I could do so much more. I could do well, first of all, you go through something like that,
Mhm.
you do build up that resilience because you're challenging yourself each time.
Yeah.
You get rid of something or you move something away or whatever. And as the items get less and less, the items that are left have more importance, so you have, I don't know, there's just this, I don't even know what to call it. but it does change the entire way you feel at home. Freer is
Exactly.
the only thing I can think of. I don't even know if that's the right word.
It's a huge word in the decluttering process that every single person feels that freedom
Yeah.
from the release. Absolutely. And the weight that or the burden that is lifted. Yeah, that's part of it because it's physical. All of our
Yes.
stuff has energy, right?
Yes.
And 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 it takes up, and as that energy gets refined and you're bringing out and seeing for the first time maybe the real loved items that you have, that is also feeding you
Yeah.
energy instead of, so it's a double win in the process of decluttering is releasing heavy and burdened energy and then shining a light on those beautiful things that give you that you love and give you energy.
Yeah, that give you joy. I
Yeah.
mean, because the other items, when you have so much clutter, it's really
Yeah.
depleting you of that because it's just so busy and it's just so overwhelming.
Yeah.
But you're right, there's a lot of, I mean, tied in with all of that is all that guilt and so
Yeah.
and so gave me this, I can't get rid of it, even though, that person may have moved across the world or they're never going to see them again or they passed them. I can't get rid of it. That's what made me think about taking pictures of it if that
Yeah.
was a viable kind of thing. What do you think that there's any difference in working with a client who's 30 years old versus with a client who's 80 years old, as far as your process with them? I mean, the only thing I'm thinking of is maybe with an 80-year-old, you're not dealing just with the client, but with the family too. I mean,
Yeah,
what do
that's a
you see as the change?
well,
If
that's a really great question. And my niche is actually more on older midlife and older adults, primarily women.
okay.
I don't have a good sense of that younger 30 to 50 generation. It's being 63 myself, like I don't know, am I
They're foreign.
they'll figure it out. And there it's so much going on in those, generations that
True.
is unique, and I'm not an expert in that. But what I find is for the 50 to 70 year olds, I can speak to their, and again, I primarily work with women.
Okay.
Um, and because and the women that I work with, they're primarily professional in some way. It could be professional volunteers, could be professional work. They work in the work world. They're educated. They're really family and community oriented, really devoted and super hardworking, right? And they're ready for time for themselves. The kids are starting to, most of them have moved away and got lives of their own.
Yeah.
And she's looking around and saying, finally, I want to do something for me.
Oh.
And it's still hard for them to do that because the habits and patterns and what people expect, it makes, and they're pleasing, they like to please people,
Sure.
and a lot of us women do, right?
I'm
But
guilty of that. Yep.
you're right. When but they're really passionately determined to shake things up here at home. Um, and they're ready to hire some help. And it's understanding that, they're on the later side of their life,
Yeah.
and they're thinking about their legacy. And there's a lot of stories around people leaving 4 dumpsters worth of stuff for their kids to deal with. And I worked for a senior move manager company, Caring Transitions here in Minneapolis. And I helped them. There were those 5 dumpster clear outs that we had to work on. It's a real thing, and people they want to they want to dig in a little deeper
Yeah.
too. They're not afraid. They know because they've had help with organizing. They've had help with the books, and they're coming to realize that I might be at the source of this problem, and they're, they've checked off all the other things that haven't worked, and so they're looking in the mirror a little more honestly at this stage of life and saying, I'm willing to do the work.
So do you ever have family members coming to you to help their aging parent versus the aging parent helping, asking for help?
Yeah, I think that's a really tricky place to be. Again, the work I do, we want people who want to be here in the
Yeah.
in the process working um, uh, on their own. It's supporting the young, young the I'm sorry, the adult child. Is
Okay.
that
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
the adult, is that what they're called, right, in your world?
Yeah, the adult kids. Yeah,
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 that's
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Because
although the funny thing is, I think I mentioned another time we spoke is that because people are aging so much longer now, because of medicine and vaccines and everything, people are just living so much longer,
right,
healthier longer. It's amazing that seniors, the adult kids are seniors too. The seniors are taking care of seniors. So it seems funny talking about them as kids, but they are the adult kids. Yeah.
they are right.
Yeah.
So most of the time, I run across the adult kids who are dealing with aging parents,
Hmm.
and some that still have kids at home. They're taking care of their kids too.
Hmm.
Um,
Right.
and so I was on this midlife, um, what was it called? Midlife mindset. It's a podcast on
Okay.
midlife women, and by um, oh my gosh, my whole brain. Robin Austin. She's a PhD nurse educator. Midlife Unmasked is the name of her podcast.
On what?
Midlife Unmasked.
Oh, unmasked. Oh,
Yeah.
midlife. I thought you said on meth.
Oh,
Masked.
no, that's
I'm
so
thinking,
terrible.
what? What did you just say? I'm writing it down. Midlife unmasked. All right,
Yeah.
I love it. That's better. That's a better
Yes,
title. Okay.
absolutely. And she's in that situation where she's talking about her parents and has kids. There is so much weight on
Yeah,
these women's shoulders to honor the parents in the process and continue to tend to the roles and responsibilities they have at home.
right.
The boundaries that need to be established in the effort to find collaborators in this process, it's you got to stop the boat sometime and just try to put together a plan where you get the help on both sides of the equation. Encourage family members, your kids, to get involved because, you know, like me, I'm kind of a controller, in my household, and I wanted things done a certain way in my house, so I did everything. And
Yeah.
after a while, I started to get really angry,
Sure.
I
Resentful.
resentful. That's a better word. And finally, I'm like, I'm not going to cook dinner so regularly as I have.
Right.
Who else is going to do that?
Right.
And I don't want to mow the lawn anymore.
Right.
And we got to figure out how to share those things. And we've got to open our mouth and ask for help in on both ends of the spectrum in those situations. So, yeah,
It's true. Boundaries are so very important. I just
absolutely.
wrote a few articles on that topic, and it almost made me think, well, it did make me think that you almost need a 12-step program kind of thing and it is mostly women. I mean, there
Yes.
are a few men who are caregivers, but it mostly falls on the women. And,
Yeah.
they're working, so they have their work life, they have their caregiving life, they have their their wife life, their mother life. I mean, it is overwhelming, and it's impossible for anyone to
Yeah.
survive that without being resentful or angry or completely broken.
Yes.
Gotten to the point where I know so many of my friends have done just that. And when their parent did finally pass away,
Yeah.
they ended up with a serious illness because they weren't attending to themselves. They couldn't, and all the stress and everything that comes along with it. It's just
Ah,
when you look at it from the outside, it seems ridiculous. You know,
it
why are you
does.
doing that? But when you're on the inside, it's so emotionally built, and who knows what the relationship was between the parents and the kids. That's why I think it is so different, you
Yeah.
know, with younger adults versus older adults on and the
Yeah.
whole process. And I guess, I mean, it's true with anything. Every client that you go to is very, do you have a some kind of a pre-questionnaire or something that can like show you what the client is before you meet the client? Did I say that correctly?
I got your message. Yes, you did.
Okay.
So I do a 30-minute discovery call beforehand and kind
Okay.
of understand where they're coming from, what their goals are, what they want, um, from what do they need, what do they want from a coach? Do they
Okay.
have they ever been coached before?
Okay.
Um, and get a sense of their readiness and talk about this work that they've done already to get
Hmm.
started and how that's been going. Um, if they haven't started anything, I ask them to, take a month and let's work on one project that you want to get done.
Okay.
And just practice on that and see how willing you are to let things go. If your goal is to, clean off the out the buffet, and we'll talk about actual percentages. Do you want to get rid of 30% or do you want to get rid of 50%? And then we'll, have them call me back and we'll talk again and see where they were in that, that project, and their willingness factor, because that's what we do together is there's a major goal that's explored through a 2 hour get to know session
Okay.
that we have. And I ask, 8 to 11 questions about, successes they've had in their life, what they're known for, roadblocks that they're aware of when it comes to decluttering and how they respond, and just various questions, getting to know them deeper, because this is a wonderfully, we create a container for this work to be done in a safe and respectful way, where client is leading this process, but I am locked arm in arm with that client and being their cheerleader, keeping them moving, keeping them on track, watching the distractions. Okay, you're going in this direction now. Is
Yeah.
that it's okay if you changed your direction?
Yeah.
Let's revisit where you wanted to go and redefine what your new, the this nuance of this new if this goal is. And but we the client is doing all of the change and the growth
They
in the
have to.
process.
I mean, it's
Yes,
them. You're coaching, you're not doing.
right. As a
Right.
virtual coach, right. Yep.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
And the beauty of the work I do with creating teams in this process is to collaborate with other organizers and declutterers. Again, I can do this all over the world because I've a network of organizers and declutterers, um, not world, United States.
I know.
Um, And the three of us, the client, myself, and the coach, and the organizer, declutter, senior move manager, whomever it may be, um, we're just in this, we're all going in the same direction with this client. And it's proven to be, this is kind of a revolutionary way to think about decluttering,
Yeah.
in this team process. And I'm working to establish this concept, by meeting other organizers and from around the world. So around the world, I don't know why I keep saying that. Around the
I,
US.
I know what you mean. And I mean, you could go worldwide, of course. I love that idea because it, you are, what it sounds like to me is that you are the project manager of this team. You know, you're the contractor that's coming in and then you're, you know, supervising because somebody has to lay out the team goals so that everyone is aware of where you're going, what you're doing, and how things change. Things may change in the middle of
Right.
creating that. So, is that how you work? How you tailor each project for each client? Depending on what they need, maybe an estate planner. I mean, not an estate planner. What do they call the estate company, estate auctions, or that come in and
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
estate sales, estate
Estate
sales.
sales, yes. And truly, I never want to lose sight of the fact that the client is the one who's really keeping us on track.
Okay.
And as support staff, if you will,
Yeah,
support people, we are just ensuring that we're all moving in the direction that that client wants to go. So I might be someone at the hub, just, well, I'm not even at a hub. I see us as a triangle. We're all
okay.
equally important in the process. So, and knowing that maybe at the peak at that triangle is the client's vision, so
I like that picture better. I like that picture in my head better.
yeah.
So, do you provide your clients with a workbook or sheets or something that keeps them, working towards their goal? How does that work?
Well, because actually, shameless plug, my book is
Save
a
it.
working journal, and it's
Okay.
actually my process of working through self-compassion, attachment, and values clarification, vision clarification, decision-making tools. So we're doing a lot of that throughout the process, and we really have to establish a vision first and foremost. We have to know where we're going. Where does that client want to go?
Yeah.
That's our North Star. And
Okay.
all around that, supported by the values and making sure we're living our values within that vision, because a lot of us can talk about the values we have, but we're not living those values. So we're just continuing to fortify this foundation of where we're going by just identifying those values in the process too. So I don't
Yeah,
know if I answered your question.
I find most people don't even really know their values. They haven't
Yeah.
taken the time to sit down. They may think they know, but then when you really question them, they just go,
Well, I have a very easy 12-minute video on meditation on my website in my resources section. And for
Love
both
that.
that for both vision and values, along with the worksheet, there's a worksheet there. Anyone can go. And I'm always curious where it takes people and how it shines a light on maybe some new information. It's kind of fun.
I love that. I mean, that ties in so well with that whole type with compassionate decluttering because it's not just, like I said at the beginning, when I got this book and I was looking through it, it's so different from so many of the other decluttering books that I've
Yeah.
gotten and even, YouTube videos and webinars, whatever, because I really do believe that decluttering is the number one step to the very first step to aging in place, which
Yeah.
is what my niche is. But what was made this book so different is that, like you said, you're coming from the inside.
Yeah.
You're not only decluttering the environment around you, that the environment I always think is a reflection of what's inside. So you have to declutter that, work on that, and then it just kind of glows out, it just
That's
comes
a good
out
way.
and it starts working. It's like a light coming out of you and it starts, fixing the environment. If I could create a picture of that, that's what I think of.
I like
So
that.
I love that that this came out. I love that you did that book. I think it's a beautiful book. So anyone listening or watching,
Thanks.
definitely I'll have links to it.
That'd be
I
great.
think it's a perfect book to have for anyone who's even just beginning to think about how
Yeah,
do I go through this process because it really does take time and you
it
have to
does
give
take time.
yourself time, not only to get into that mindset but then
Yes.
to actually physically do it.
Yes. And that word mindset is so critical. And that's where the essence of the book is. It's shifting the way you're thinking about your stuff, you know, because the process of decluttering, and for if people like adult children know that their parents maybe in the next couple of years or three, there might be a change coming for them in their lifestyle. Um, to include the parents in this conversation about, what's important and where, and allowing them to, because it takes, did I already say this? It takes a couple of years to just make that transition and rather be ahead of it. It's never too early to start, right?
Right. It's never too early to start. I mean, you definitely want to start. I have a great friend who practiced from I've known her 30 years, and she taught her children, and she and her husband practice it. If one item comes into the house, one item goes out of the house.
Yeah,
And her
that's
kids
great.
still do that. And I think but it takes time and it takes practice, it takes a mindset.
Yes,
But if you're not born with that, if you don't have that immediately,
yes,
it's going to take, you have to be patient with yourself and realize it will happen, very much like a slow diet. Post menopause dieting is very, very, very slow.
exactly, exactly.
So
And it's just what, right, one small project at a time.
one
And
small project at a time.
yeah,
It's true.
exactly.
Oh, Michelle, this was amazing. What other resources do you have on your website? Can you
It's
talk
mostly
about that?
resources associated with my book,
Okay.
and every chapter might have three or four work. It's activities and associated worksheets and things
Okay.
like that, so people can dig in and see what comes up for them. I'm I'm available to talk to me anytime. You can find myself on LinkedIn and on Instagram. I do 2-minute videos, once a month, and I, I meet with people who are interested in life coaching, I mean, home coaching and working with organizers. I have a monthly meeting with organizers. You know, you can see it on my LinkedIn
Uh-huh.
or Instagram, what's coming up in the next month. So,
Uh-huh. I love that. So tell me your website again. And is that the best way for people to get a hold of you is through the website?
excuse me, homecoachhoff.com,
Okay.
easy breezy, and same homecoachhoff.com at LinkedIn and Instagram. I think my, I think LinkedIn is the best way to get a hold of me.
Okay.
And if
Okay.
you tell me what your clients would, when you think of
Yeah, I mean,
seniors,
I think as if you have a phone number on your website, if you have a
I do.
contact page on your website, then I mean, those two,
I,
in addition to LinkedIn, those are
yep.
three excellent ways. And it's home coach HOFF as in
Two, two
Frank.com
F's as
in
in Frank.
case, in case people aren't hearing it well. But
Oh,
um,
and I've got a newsletter too that
oh,
if you go on my website,
yeah.
you'll get 2 free chapters of my book.
Oh,
And
okay, great.
yeah, and I don't pressure people. I have stories and that distill down to, 1 or 2 lines about decluttering, but it's really how life is all about, the choices we make, right? And how we manage those choices and make
Yeah,
those
and
choices. So
manage the events that happen to us,
yeah,
because things happen. So
they
it's
do.
not what happens, it's how you react to what happens at the end of the day. But
Yeah.
it's a beautifully written book. I mean,
Thank you.
I love the way it follows. I think it's excellent. I think you did a great job.
Uh,
So again,
it was worth the 12
check.
years.
Yeah, I know. 12 I can't believe it's been 12, but you can tell there's a lot of love in it. And it flows well. I don't know how you decided what went first, second, third, whatever, but it's beautifully written. I think you did a great job, easy
Thank
to
you so much.
follow. So I thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So
Oh, wow. Such a
I look
pleasure, Esther.
yeah, I look forward to talking to you more, not only about this, but all the other amazing, because you are so well rounded.
Mhm.
It's you're there's some people that you meet that you can only talk to about two, three things, and then that's it. their extent of knowledge is in a box,
Okay.
and then other people, their knowledge base is, you know, the size of the planet. So I love that because it makes conversation flow so much easier. And I mean, you learn from each and
Yeah.
every person.
You do. Well, thank you. And I admire what you're doing so much as well. I look
Oh,
forward to
thank you.
further collaborations with you and other people. I know you've got a new person you're going to interview soon that I'm very curious about, and I want to follow that interview
Yeah,
as
I'm
well.
always looking for, people to interview and, you know,
Yeah.
anything that's unique and different. I
Yeah.
love
And
because I think it forces you to think out of your box. And when I write the articles and when I do the webinars for the members of the directory, I
yeah.
always try to think of an out of the box way to use this or that or whatever. Like, today I did a webinar on Amazon affiliate program and how
Ah,
that can boost your income. And a lot of people don't think, a lot of aging in place professionals don't even consider using Amazon as part of an income booster, but it absolutely can be.
wow.
So,
Wow.
all right, so hold on for a little bit, but I want to thank everybody and I will see you in the next podcast. Thank you.